Hey y'all, welcome to my kitchen. I'm gonna make a quick, easy recipe. This is gluten-free, dairy-free. It's gonna be bison, rice, and cabbage, zucchini, and squash with lots of seasonings, and it's just gonna be a really easy meal to throw together. I already got the rice on. It's gonna go for about 20 minutes, and then we're gonna make the beef cabbage stir fry, and I have some onions to kind of add some more flavor too. So this is actually a great AIP recipe, which is the autoimmune solution recipe. White rice is typically okay for that diet. So this is something that I'm doing to try and prevent Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune disorder of the thyroid. So these are all just things that I have gleaned from books and doctors and my own family members who have had the condition as well. So let's get into this recipe. It's gonna be super healthy and super delicious.
All right, y'all, so I'm gonna start by dicing up my onions. I'm doing just one onion for this recipe. It's kind of a large onion, so it'll work fine. I'm gonna dice this up, and then I like to dice mine small just because I'm making it with the meat. So I'm gonna dice it up pretty small, and then I'm going to add garlic to the pan with some oil, and then I'm gonna go ahead and cook the meat. So here's me adding garlic, and then I'm gonna add some olive oil. You can use whatever oil you like, avocado oil, coconut oil, whatever you want. It's gonna taste delicious. So yeah, then I'm putting the onions in. I'm going to stir those around until they're fragrant. That's one thing to always look for when you're making kind of like an onion garlic base is you want to make sure it cooks down until you start to smell that garlic and that onion together. And then I'm going to use organic ground beef. I usually use bison or lamb, but when I went to the store, they didn't have any. They were all out. So crazy. They usually always, the Kroger that I go to that's near my house always has bison or lamb. It's very rare that they don't, but this big new Kroger I thought would have it for sure, and all they had was organic ground beef. So that's what I'm using today. I'm also anemic, so the iron really helps me from red meat. It's like the only thing that I found that really helps. And I'm just going to season this with some onion powder, garlic powder, paprika, everything seasoning, some minced garlic, some no salt Creole, a little lemon pepper. Y'all, I put way too much thyme in this. I was only supposed to use a little thyme, but you know what? You stir it up and you don't really notice. Like, there's been so many times where I've just dumped a bunch of seasoning into whatever I'm making, and you can't really, I've never even noticed the flavor to like any crazy difference. So yeah, you might as well just go with it. It's past the point of no return at that point. So season at your own risk. And so I'm gonna stir all this up, and then while I'm finishing the meat, I'm gonna start prepping for my vegetables. So I'm gonna put the meat in a separate container because I love to cook my vegetables in the meat juice. So any type of, this was a lean meat, so it wasn't like a lot of oil. If you don't use lean meat, you're gonna have a lot of oil left over. But if you use lean meat, there's not gonna be much oil left over, so you can kind of just take out the meat and then start cooking your veggies in the meat juice, which is exactly what I'm gonna do here. And these squash were huge. I like to half mine, but I was having to like quarter some of these squashes because the squashes were so big. I also got too many. I don't know why I always think like, oh, I'm gonna eat all these vegetables. Like, girl, you're gonna eat like a cup of vegetables for 4 days, not like you're feeding a family of 5, But it is what it is, you know, they're healthy. I just wish, you know, they last. Actually, vegetables in the fridge, like if you like the cooked veggies that I'm doing zucchini here, and then I'm gonna do cabbage. They actually last up to 7 days, while the meat and the rice will last you like 4 days refrigerated in a tightly sealed container. The veggies will actually last you about 7 days, so you can kind of reuse them and just do like a new meat or a new carb. Obviously, I'm counting my macros, and so I'm doing everything like separate. That's kind of been my new way to cook, is like to cook the vegetables separate, the carb, whether it's rice or potatoes. Those are pretty much the only carbs I do, rice, potatoes, or sweet potatoes, and then cook the meat separate. That way, I'm going to show you at the end, because I use a scale to weigh my food now. So I'm going to show you how I count my macros at the end. And here I am going in with my cabbage. You guys, I hadn't eaten cabbage since I was a kid. And when I reintroduced cabbage into my diet, oh my freaking God, it's so good. Like, I used to love cabbage as a kid, but you know, my family didn't make it that often. And when I got older, you know, like really when I started going into the AIP diet, a lot of the recipes called for cabbage. The cabbage literally almost is like a noodle. Like, it's very like sturdy, but it's also like cooks to be translucent. So it literally almost tastes like noodles. It's so weird. Like I love the texture of it. Like, I've grown to love cabbage, and now like I want it all the time. Like, I crave it. But yeah, I'm cooking all the squash, zucchini, and cabbage together. I'm hitting it with onion powder, garlic powder, paprika, no salt Creole, and then I'm gonna hit it with just a little bit of Italian seasonings. Like, I'm hitting it with the lemon pepper, a little bit of thyme, a little bit of rosemary. I just find that those seasonings add so much flavor. Even just a little bit goes a long way. And then I am gonna add some liquid aminos just to make the sauce really good. And then I added a little fish sauce too. The liquid aminos and the fish sauce are like, oh my God, like such a good combination for like veggies or and then I'm adding a little bit of water to kind of steam everything down, because you want your vegetables like steamed and not like burned on the pan. So adding a little water helps all of that like steam together, and you can see how it's all cooking down, and it's going to reduce, but there's going to be a little juice left from all the seasonings and the water, that's almost going to be like a little broth that I'll show you guys later. I'm going to put on top of the rice, and you can just never season too much, okay?
All right, y'all, so the cabbage and the squash and zucchini are still cooking. The rice is done, the meat is done, and I'm gonna go pick up my husband from work, and then when I get back, I'm gonna put everything together and I'll show you guys my plate, but I know it's gonna be super delicious. So we'll see you tonight.
Okay, now it's time for macro time, so I'm going to do this slow so I can show you guys. I put the plate on the scale and zero it out so the plate is not adding to the weight. And then I'm going to go for, I can't remember if I usually do like 160 grams of rice, 160 to 200 depending on how my carbs are looking for the day, but really 160 is about all I can eat. And so I think that's what I go for today, or I go 150. I think I go 150. Let me look because I can't remember. Yeah, 150. So 150 is good for me. Like, I don't need that much rice on my plate. I won't eat it all, you know. Then I zero it out in time for the meat. And I'm obviously calculating this on MyFitnessPal. So once I put in my gram of food, it'll show me the carbs, proteins, and fats that are in the grams of food that I plug into the app. So I think I'm going, let's see, 130 grams of beef, and that's a lot of beef, you know? And so that's gonna be enough for me. That's gonna fill me up. So yeah, I basically calculate all this into MyFitnessPal, and then at the end of the day, if you press nutrition, it will show you your macros, which is your carbs, proteins, and fats. I'm going for about, and I'm doing vegetables, but I don't count vegetables. I don't count vegetables or fruits because vegetables and fruits are so healthy for you. You don't need to count those. So my personal trainer that I'm working with told me to go 125 grams of protein, 160 grams of carbs. And once again, this is what was confusing me. I'm making my husband's plate now, but this is what confusing me because I thought if I put 160 grams of rice on my plate that it equals 160 grams of carbs. That's not true. That's not accurate. 160 grams of carbs 160 grams of rice equals about like 30 carbs. So that's what always confused me about counting macros. Now I'm putting the juice from the vegetables on my rice. Look how delicious that looks. Oh my God. And this would be perfect AIP diet because it has no dairy, but I wanted to add more protein. So you see I added cottage cheese. So I'm going to show you guys MyFitnessPal. So it's 150 grams of rice, 130 grams of beef, and a half cup of cottage cheese. All right, so now I'm going to show you the macros. So the macros is 44 grams of carbs, 18 grams of fat, and 40 grams of protein. So I'm almost hitting all my goals here. So that's one thing to look out for when you are counting your macros, is that the grams of food does not equal the grams of carbs, fat, and protein. So MyFitnessPal is a great way to calculate that for you. All right, y'all, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.